Hello, one and all, is my view of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Chapter 97, Pursuers. And oh god, you just gotta feel bad for Koichi. I mean, seriously. This chapter opens up with him being referred to as a cockroach and that creepy crawly guy, and then just gets worse from there as he's attacked by some of Japan's greatest heroes. Oh god, poor Koichi. I mean, seriously, he's just trying to protect the woman he loves. Give the man a break. Though I am liking that the heroes are recognizing his efforts and his good deeds. I mean, let's not forget, Endeavor attempted to murder him for simply wearing an All Might hoodie, which, yeah, that man's got a lot of anger issues. But here, Ingenium refers to him as a force for good, and later on, Best Genius describes him as the unsung hero of the egg disaster, and then begins to cry when realizes that their failures have resulted in him losing faith in hero society, which, oh god, I love Best Genius. And I am seeing some confusion online about why exactly Koichi isn't just talking to the heroes, and, there's a few reasons for that. I mean, first and foremost, he needs to be on the outside looking in, because Six is a master of infiltration. He broke into a police station, and nobody noticed until he started setting off explosives. And, he's also an officially licensed and recognized hero, which, okay, I have so many questions about how a person who is basically a science experiment gets a hero license. So many questions about that, but either way, if there's someone who could break into the hospital without the heroes realizing, it would be Six. And he doesn't even need to try all that hard. All he really has to do is start setting off explosives, on the other side of town, and all the heroes, or most of the heroes, will rush to go save people, leaving the hospital more or less defenseless, so he can break in and kill Pop. Which seems exactly the kind of thing he would do, so yeah, that's bad. And, secondly, though, there's also the fact that, the heroes aren't really saying, we can protect her. They're more saying, if you try to keep protecting her, you're probably gonna die, Koichi, which, fair enough. He is an unlicensed and, as far as they can tell, untrained vigilante who's trying to take on one of the most dangerous terrorists in the world. If he was not the protagonist, I'd say his chance of getting killed is about 90%. Thankfully, though, he is the main protagonist, so he might end up winning. Yay! Anyways, back to the start of this chapter. I just love the shots. Koichi just thinks to himself, like, this should be far enough. Just gotta keep hidden. He's thinking, like, all right, I can do this. And in the background, you see Ingenium getting closer and closer and closer. Oh, I love that. And then, he's right next to him. And I was right. I said last video that I didn't think the crawler could win in a battle of speed, but he is way, way more maneuverable than Ingenium is, as we can tell from him, getting away from Ingenium and then attaching himself to the side of a truck, which... Seriously, how blind is this truck driver? I feel like that's the kind of thing you'd notice and maybe slow down, stop, pull over, do something other than just keep on driving. Anyway, then Koichi gets away, but oh no, it was a trap, as Ingenium's entire team is waiting to jump Koichi and capture him. But they aren't quite fast enough as he decides to start flying. Seriously, he leaps 50 feet into the air, attaches himself to the nearest building, then seems to fling himself off that, then do a double jump in the air, and then just starts soaring through the sky like a freaking bird. Koichi has basically mastered the art of flying at this point, and I freaking love it. Unfortunately, though, he is stopped by two of Japan's top 10 ranked heroes, Best Genius and Edgeshot, which, my freaking god. I mean, Endeavor was bad enough, but both of these guys together, that's bad. That's very, very bad. And if they were fighting seriously, they would have killed him in all of 10 seconds. Thankfully, they aren't, and they're just trying to restrain him, and not even, all that hard. They're trying to restrain him, but make sure they don't injure him in the process. Instead, Best Genius just manipulates his cloak to wrap him tight to make sure he can't get away, but what they fail to realize is that Koichi is crazy, and continues to use his sliding glide, which, interesting enough, they know the name of his technique. They know it's called sliding glide, which, weird? The only person who could tell him that would probably be Aizawa, so curious about that. Anyway, he uses the sliding glide to propel himself off a building. He literally flings himself off a building to his almost certain death. I mean, I think Koichi thinks, okay, I might be able to start propelling myself before I hit the ground here, but he really doesn't seem all that focused on it, as thankfully, Edgeshot manages to create a net so he doesn't die, but that loosens up Koichi enough where he's able to free himself and start flying in the other direction, which, oh my god, I freaking love that. I mean, yes, like I said, they are not fighting seriously, but seriously, this means that Koichi has managed to outmaneuver Endeavor, Ingenium, Best Genius, and Edgeshot. That's like almost half the top 10 heroes in Japan. I freaking love it. The only way this can get any more insane is if he ends up in a fight against All Might before the series comes to an end, which, Oh god, please let that happen. Please let that happen. I could see him winning. I could see him winning. All he needs to do is hold on long enough for, All Might to need a break to reach his limit for the day, or, for anyone else to be in danger within 10 miles of him, at which point he'll have to flee to go help that person. Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely freaking amazing. Anyway, then unfortunately for Koichi, he runs into the absolute worst person he can fight against, Aizawa. Yeah, that's bad. That's very bad. Though, there's something so interesting about, Aizawa holding that book, waiting in the shadows like that. It felt very, like Kakashi from Naruto. That's what I got reading from that. But, yeah, so the question remains, can Koichi beat Aizawa? And I know this might sound insane, but I'm going to say he has a fairly good chance at winning in a fight here, or at least managing to outmaneuver him again. Now, don't get me wrong, Aizawa is a freaking powerhouse, especially before his injuries, when he can keep his eyes open for even longer, but he has a few limitations that would give Koichi quite an advantage here. I mean, first and foremost, he's not going to treat this like a villain. He's not going to treat Koichi like a villain. He's not going to go in for the kill, try to, knock him out, do as much damage as possible, because that can cause, some permanent damage. He's more than likely just going to try and detain him, try to wrap him up in a scarf, something like that. And secondly, he still has dry eyes. Eventually, he will need to blink. So let's say it's a scenario, Aizawa manages to wrap Koichi in a steel scarf, and then after a few minutes of that, he has to blink. That's the exact moment Koichi needs. Just like we saw when he was wrapped up by Best Jeanist, that would give Koichi the chance to unleash the full force of his blast all at once, with enough force that would, basically either knock Aizawa off his feet or free him from Aizawa's grasp, so he can get away far enough for Aizawa to, lose eyesight, lose eye contact with him, and they'll manage to escape. I mean, that's the best way I can imagine him winning this fight, essentially, just waiting for the chance to unleash his full blast and then just getting away from him. I think that could work, but the question is, are they actually going to fight? Or is Aizawa just going to let him go? Realize that, someone like him is needed to deal with the cracks in hero society, protect the people from the shadows, something like that. I mean, I feel like there's going to be at least a little bit of an altercation, which will eventually end with Aizawa letting him go, but I'm not sure about that. But yeah, let me know down below. What'd you think of Koichi managing to outmaneuver Ingenium, Best Genius, and Edge Shot? Oh, I love that. I freaking love that. What do you think of All Might? Do you think we're actually going to have fights? All Might versus Koichi? That seems so very, very unlikely, but I would freaking love that. I think it'd be interesting, maybe like in the epilogue to the series, Aizawa calls up Koichi to ask him to help train, Deku. They can have a sparring match back and forth as a means of helping Deku get better control of his quirk. Oh, I love that. I absolutely freaking love that. Like if anyone here has ever watched Yu-Gi-Oh! In the second series, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Jaden, the main character, ended up going back in time in the final episode to go fight the protagonist from the first series. Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool. They could be just like that. Crawler versus Deku. Who's going to win that fight? Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely freaking amazing. Almost better than him fighting All Might. Almost, not as much. But yeah, let me know down below. What do you think's going to happen? Who do you think's going to win? Be sure to like, subscribe to the next video. Until then, peace.